Hello students, welcome to my video on multiple inheritance in C++. In this video, we will see what is multiple inheritance, how to define a derived class in multiple inheritance, how to create objects of derived class, and one sample program to implement multiple inheritance. So let us revise the types of inheritance. The first, single inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. And in this video we are going to discuss about multiple inheritance. So let us see what do we mean by multiple inheritance. If one class is derived from multiple base classes, then such type of inheritance is known as multiple inheritance. So here suppose there is a base class 1, base class 2, and like this there may be n number of base classes, and from this multiple base classes we can derive a single derived class. So such type of structure is nothing but multiple inheritance. Multiple means it is related to multiple base classes. So multiple base classes and single derived class. Using multiple inheritance, it is possible to combine the feature properties of multiple classes into a single class. So like this, whatever the properties of multiple base classes that can be combined into a single derived class. While defining the classes in multiple inheritance, the base classes are defined with normal class definitions with data members and member functions. So we have to define the base classes independently. After defining these multiple base classes, the derived class will be defined, and this derived class will be defined like this. So this is the syntax of defining a derived class. The class name, that is a derived class, then colon, that is a relationship operator, and then the multiple base classes with their visibility modes we have to specify. So visibility mode 1, then base class 1, visibility mode 2, base class 2, and so on. And then as usual you can have the data members under private section and member functions under public section. So here this definition of derived class is indicating that this class is derived from multiple base classes. So here this is the colon, that operator which indicates the relationship between the multiple base classes and the single derived class. So then here the mode 1, mode 2, these are the visibility modes, and it may be private or public or protected. Usually it is always public. So public base class 1, public base class 2, and so on. Now after defining the base classes and the derived class, let us create the objects. So while implementing the multiple inheritance, the objects are always created of derived class and not of base classes. So you have to create the objects of derived class. The object of derived class can access the member functions of derived class as well as base classes. So even though we are creating the objects of derived classes, but that object can call or use or access the member function of all classes, that is derived class as well as all its base classes. The objects will be created as usual, that is the derived class name and the name of the objects. Using this object we can access the member function of base class as well as the member function of derived class using dot operator, that is object dot base class member function or object dot derived class member function. So in this way, first important thing is always create the objects of derived class only and not of base classes, and using object call the member functions of base classes as well as derived class using dot operator. Let us see one problem. Write a C++ program to calculate area and circumference of a circle using concept of multiple inheritance. So here the class diagram is given. The first class is area, and which is having the find area as a member function. Next class is circumference, in which find circum is the member function, and another class is diameter, in which find dia is the member function. So these are the three base classes, and from these base classes one class is derived, that is circle class. The circle class is having the data member radius and two member functions, get radius and display. So like this here, the in derived class, that is a circle, the radius will be accepted, and using this radius the area, circumference and the diameter will be find out. So let us write a C++ program to implement this multiple inheritance. So as usual, you include the header file iostream.h, then start defining the base class 1. The base class 1 is area, and in this the data members are absent, no data member. So directly the member function is there. The name of the member function is find area, which accepts the radius as argument, and it returns the area, which is the float type of value. So the local variable float will be required, and area, and this area will be calculated as 3.14 into r square, that is pi r square. After finding the area using radius r, let us return the area. So like this, find area function will accept r as argument and will return the area as return value. End of the class 1. Then let us define base class 2, that is circumference. Here also data member is not there, directly the member function is available. Let us define it in the public section. Find circum. So this find circum is also accepting the r, that is the radius of circle, as an argument, and it is in floating type of value. So this floating type of value is nothing but the circumference of the circle. So the circum is the variable which is used for this in this particular function. So circum is equal to 2 pi r, that is 2 into 3.14 into r, and let us return the value of circum. So like this find circum function will accept r as a radius of circle and will return circum as a circumference of a circle. Then let us define base class number 3, that is diameter. In the diameter also data member is not there. In the public section, member function, that is find dia, is defined here, which is calculating the diameter of a circle using radius r. So local variable dia will be required to declare, and let us calculate this dia, that is diameter of circle, using 2 into r, twice radius, and return it. So in this way the find dia function accepts the r as a radius of a circle and returns dia as a diameter of a circle. So like this we have completed the definitions of all three base classes, that is area, circumference and diameter. Now let us proceed further for derived class. So circle is a derived class which is publicly derived from area and circumference and diameter. So there are three base classes, and from these base classes circle, that single class, is derived. So like this, here it is the multiple inheritance. So this multiple inheritance is clearly mentioned or specified here. You can easily observe that area circle, the single class, is derived from three base classes, area, circumference and diameter. So in the private section, one data member is required to declare, that is a radius of float type. And in public section, let us write the declaration of member functions. The first member function is get radius, which is the void function, and second member function is the display function, which is also the void function. Let us write the complete definition of get radius and display outside the circle class. So member function get radius, and it is not accepting any argument and it is not returning any value, so it is a void function. So first of all, let us accept the radius. So seen radius will accept the radius from the user. Then next, let us write the definition of a display function outside the class. So circle scope resolution display, and it is also the void type of function, no arguments, no return value. So here three local variables are declared, area, circum and dia, which is our final output which is required to display. Now the value of this area, circum and dia will be get from the function calls. The area is equal to find area of radius. So here the find area, which is the base class member function, which is called here within the display function. So like this, one member function, that is the find area, is called within another member function, that is display. So member function called within another member function. Then find circum, this particular function is called with the argument radius, and which is the base class 2 member function, and it will return the circumference of a circle, and that will be stored in the circum variable. And third function call is find dia function with argument radius, which is the base class 3 member function, and the return value will be stored in dia. So like this, area, circum and dia, the three values are made available through the function calls find area, find circum and find dia. Let us display it as an output. Diameter of a circle is dia, area of the circle is area, and circumference of circle is circum. Return end of the display function. So like this display function will call three member functions of different base classes within it, and will get the return value and will display it. Let us write the main function. So in the main function, let us first of all, we have to create the object of derived class. That just I told you that in multiple inheritance always create the object of derived class only. So our derived class is circle, and C is the object of derived class circle. Then input operation is done using by calling the getRadius function. So C dot getRadius function. So getRadius is the member function of derived class. Then C dot display. So it will display the radius, circumference and diameter by calling the display function. This is also the derived class member function. So here the object C is calling the member functions of derived classes, that is getRadius and display function. And just we have defined the display function, in which internally we have called the member functions of all three base classes. So return 0. So this is a simple main function, and if you run this program, you will get the output like this. It will accept the radius from the user, let us say 3.5. The diameter will be calculated as 7. Then area of the circle will be calculated as 38.46, and the circumference of circle will be calculated as 21.98. So in this way, you can easily implement the multiple inheritance in C++ using multiple base classes and single derived class. So similar to this problem, now I am giving you one problem as an exercise, and if you try to solve it, and if you successfully write the complete C++ program, then the learning is achieved for implementing the multiple inheritance. So here again, area and perimeter, these are the two base classes, and find area and find perimeter, these are the member functions of respective base classes. And from these two base classes, one class is derived, that is rectangle. The data members are length and breadth of rectangle, and get data and display are the member functions. So just follow the programs which I explained for the shape circle, and here only the shape is changed, rectangle. In that previous program there were three base classes, here only two base classes are there and one derived class is there. So this particular problem you can easily solve on the basis on the line of the program of circle which just I have explained. So thank you for watching my video on multiple inheritance.